Hi students, I welcome you all for control system lectures. In the previous class we discussed PID control structure and we derived a mathematical expression of PID in which we also focused on different aspects of pole location which influences the gain of the controller, followed by some conditions of root locus in the previous class, right? So in this class we are going to start compensators. So what is the basic difference of a compensator and the controller? Controller is actually in the block diagram aspect is concerned. If you see this particular block diagram, what you can see here, cascade compensator, which I'm showing here. This GC, if you call it as a controller, it deals with the error E. So it always focus on error. Based on the error, the controller gains. We will try to manipulate this error, and it will make the process to reach the desired R of S. It is kind of a reference tracking problem. You can call it as a servo problem. So reference tracking problem, as far as those problems are concerned, the controller, PID controller, deals with that particular problems. And coming to the compensators, so if the problem is given with a certain desired performance, like there should be certain peak overshoot, there should be certain damping, and the bandwidth and certain in frequency specifications is concerned, there should be certain phase margin and gain margin and bandwidth. So those are the different desired specifications in control aspect. So compensator basically deals with the desired performance aspect, right? So desired performance will be dealing with the compensator, and the PID will deal with the error. That was a basic difference you can see. But as far as the literature is concerned, you can call both as one and the same, because if you are trying to control your reference, right? Is it called control reference instance? If you are trying to eliminate this error, indeed you are actually doing the same. Your required specifications also includes the error elimination, right? To make the error to zero, reach the steady state error to zero, make the steady state error to zero, and follow the reference tracking. But in particular to the reference tracking, error actually in PID, even if you get an overshoot or if you are not getting overshoot, doesn't matter. But if you are designed a compensator, it should actually follow that certain specifications, like either it would be a time desired specifications, time domain specifications, or frequency domain specifications. Okay, so as far as the definition of compensator is concerned, compensator is the specific control toolbox, right? It is a specific control toolbox used to correct some lagging aspects of the system, such as the property of underdamped, like phase properties, lag properties, magnitude, etc. Right? The compensator is a specific control toolbox used to correct some lagging aspect of the system property under concern, such as phase, lag, magnitude, etc. Right? So compensator are used to obtain the desired specifications, whether it would be a time domain or a frequency domain specifications. So as far as the compensator is concerned, there are three types of compensators. If you are connecting the compensator, right, I can call this as a controller itself. But if you are given a desired specifications, then whatever you are designing a controller is nothing but the compensator. So that way you can see the difference. Okay, so cascade compensator is something like you have a plant and your controller is connected in series with the plant. And if you see the feedback compensator, your compensator or a controller is a feedback element actually. It is given as a feedback, and parallelly the plant and the controller will be in parallel to each other, and having an external feedback which will focus on a reference. Right, so in control aspect there are different types of structures based on the requirement. There are many, like more than 10 kind of structures you can see. But all alone, what the difference you can see is either it would be a cascade or a feedback. Either it would be in C cascade or a feedback actually, right? So combination of both. But more or less, it should follow these two compensators. It can have any number of cascade elements, or it can have any number of feedback elements, right? So coming to the types of compensators, there are four types of compensators. Basically, four types of compensators. First one is lead compensator. Lead compensator. Second one is lag compensator. Okay. And third one is lead lag compensator. Lead lag compensator. And the fourth one is lag lead compensator. So the term lead compensator, if you clearly observe the lead compensator comes into picture when a sinusoidal input is applied to a system. You have a G of S as a system. If you apply certain sinusoidal input to the system, right? If you are getting some phase shift, if you are getting a phase shift, right? Leading phase. Suppose if your input is sine theta, and if you are getting output as a cos theta, right? Cos theta. So if that output actually is leading, the output is leading with respect to the phase, with respect to input, then that system is actually called as a lead compensator, right? So let us see how it actually looks in a sinusoidal response is concerned. Okay, if you are given a sine of t and say this is the response sine t, and if the output you are getting it as a cos, that means it will actually a phase shift. See this one, I'll just write it down with the different marker to show the difference. See here, this is actually input, and this is output. If you see, there is a phase shift of the output, phase shift of 90 degrees. How it is, how the 90 degrees actually phase shifted? See, the red plot is actually coming 90% earlier actually. 90 degrees earlier. That means actually phase shift is actually leading it. This output actually leaded the process of input. Input is actually coming 90 degrees late. That's what we can observe from here, from this graph. So if your input is this one and output is the green one, which is actually leading output, leading phase lead output, which produces by giving certain transfer function to your system. See, suppose if you are adding something, if you are adding some controller to the closed loop system, see here, in a cascade input, you are having some certain system, and if you are doing some kind of implementing some controller, I mean some compensator transfer function, which makes the process lead in terms of phase, then that particular system or compensator is called a lead compensator. Similarly, lag compensator. Lag compensator, you may get cause output. See, lag in lag, if you see the same thing in lag, it's just the vice versa. This is lead, and in lag, if you can see sine input, and if you are getting output in this way, right? So there will be a phase shift here, 90 degrees phase from here. This is actually input, and phase shift is actually lagging. Okay, lag output. This is 90 degrees lag. That is how the output, if you are getting, then that compensator which produces this output, that compensator is actually called as a lag compensator. And lead lag is something like a combination of lag as well as lead. Which will come first is lag, then it will come with the lead. So we'll see how actually it differs in terms of a concept. Similarly, lag lead. So basically you should understand one thing here. If you consider a transfer function, say you have a transfer function s plus omega p omega z numerator, right? Omega z by omega s plus omega p, and or s plus 1. If I'm writing in terms of s plus 1, how can I write it? Is s by omega z plus 1 to s by omega p plus 1. If you are having a structure of transfer function in this way, you can have another structure also, same thing actually. If you are taking omega p by omega z out, left over is s plus omega z by s plus omega p. This would be considered as k. Okay, so if you observe here, the similar structure where omega z is less than omega p. This means the zero which you are using in the zero is actually closer to the origin than the pole. If you are whatever the zero or numerator root you are using, if it is actually nearer to the origin compared to the pole, then that particular system is actually called as a lag system, lag compensator. So if you consider a pole near to the origin, or you have only pole in the system, then how actually your Bode plot looks? So you know what is a pole? Pole is actually makes 20 dB decaying response. Yeah, this is pole which is actually goes decaying response, and if you have a zero, it will actually goes this way. Right, you know that it is actually gives a pole. If you have a pole in the system, that actually gives minus 20 dB, and 0 in the transfer function or a plant which actually gives plus 20 dB, right? Plus 20 dB and minus 20 dB. If you have a pole, it is minus 20 dB per decibel in a gain plot. How actually phase shift will vary with respect to pole and 0. If you have a pole, the phase shift will be minus 90 degrees, and if you have a 0, that will be plus 90 degrees. If you have a 0, yes is nothing but numerator term, and denominator is nothing but pole. So if you have a pole, that actually contributes a negative phase shift, and positive 90 phase shift will be produced by the 0. And if you have the combination of these two, pole and 0, in the transfer function, so let us consider a transfer function which is having a combination of both pole and 0. Say you have a transfer function s plus 2 divided by s plus 8. So this particular transfer function, if you locate those two poles in s plane, how actually it looks? This transfer function looks in this way. This will be 0 at minus 2, and this will be pole. As we know, 0 is near to the origin. This is actually a leading system, right? This phase lead. Similarly, if you have a pole near to the origin and 0 is away from the origin, this is actually a lag system and a phase lag it is. Okay, so with this little introduction, we'll jump into the problem and we'll see the steps simultaneously how to construct a lead compensator. So let us consider a numerical problem to design a lead compensator for a system shown below. So here what they asked is the frequency domain specifications. You can see they asked us to design a controller for a phase margin of the system should be greater than 45. Steady state error of the ramp input should be less than 1 by 15 and grain crossover frequencies should be less than 7.5 radians per second. So in the previous class, what we saw is that designing a controller gain, where they asked us to design a time domain specifications like rise time and overshoot, etc. If you see here, the specifications are in terms of the frequency domain. So what we need to do is we have to draw a Bode plot for this. Given transfer function, we need to draw a Bode plot. Based on the Bode plot, we have to estimate the phase margin for the given system, and as they mentioned, the phase margin should be greater than 45. We have to include the controller with the given transfer function, and that controller should compensate the given specifications. You have to choose the controller gains such that the specifications are given should met, right? So first thing is what they gave is k here. So we have to determine k. We don't know what is actually open loop gain. This is open loop gain k. So if you consider this particular system, this is open loop system, right? So given system is g of s, given g of s is equal to k by s into s plus 1, right? So we need to determine the k value. Unknown k should be determined. Determine k. So if you see the system, this is actually it is having a pole at origin. So type 1 system, right? So for type 1 system, they asked a steady state error. Steady state error, what we need to do is how can get a steady state error? If you see initial chapter where we deal with steady state error, designing a steady state error for type 1 system. For all type system, we designed a steady state error for different kind of inputs. For ramp input they asked. So for ramp input, steady state error for type 1 system, we'll equate it and we'll find the k value. So what we need to do is steady state error ESS. Steady state error should be less than or equal to 1 by 15 they said. So here for type 1 system, steady state error will be 1 by kV. So what is the expression for steady state error? Velocity error constant, right? So steady state error is given as kV is equal to limit s tends to 0 s into g of s into h of s. But if you see the system which was given is a unity feedback system, therefore h of s will be 1. So just substitute the given system here to find the k value. Limit s tends to 0 s into 1 by s into s plus 1, right? So s and s will get cancelled out. Left over is limit s tends to 0 1 by k by, that is k by s plus 1. So we'll apply the limit to the system, therefore kv will be equal to k, right? So what is kv here? kv is 15 here, therefore k will be 15, which gives the transfer function as 15 by s into s plus 1. Okay, now what we need to do is we will draw a Bode plot for this system. Okay, we got k value, and this is the open loop system. For this open loop system, we'll just plot the Bode plot and check how the phase margin, current phase margin for this particular system is, right? So consider Bode plot. So whatever I am giving here, the Bode plot is the second method which will be different from the method which I gave it in when I am dealing with the Bode plot, when I taught you the Bode plot. Okay, both the methods you can use to plot a Bode plot. So step in Bode plot, let us construct Bode plot, right? So for the given system, the first step. So for the lead compensator, where we computed this k value, let us consider this itself as a step one for designing the uh, lead compensator. This will be step one. Okay. So step two here. Step 2 for the lead compensator, okay, not for the Bode plot. Step 2, draw the Bode plot, and first thing what we need to do is substitute s equal to j omega. We know that we need to substitute s equal to j omega. So when you substitute s equal to j omega, the equation will come as 15 by g of j omega will be 15 by j omega into j omega plus 1, right? So we need to do what we need to do is next step is to compute the corner frequencies of given transfer function. So the transfer function is having one pole at origin and one pole at -1. So when you are computing a corner frequency, you have to consider the pole which is not at the origin. So the other pole, which is s plus 1, for that pole, what we need to do is we have to get the corner frequency. How to get that corner frequency? The coefficient of s term should be substituted as a denominator. So corner frequency omega CR will be given as 1 by coefficient of s term. Coefficient of s here is 1. We have to consider the s term which is not at the origin. Remember, when you are considering the omega CR corner frequency, we have to consider s plus 1, not s, because s is nothing but the pole at the origin. Okay. So therefore omega CR corner frequency for the given transfer function is 1 by 1, that is nothing but 1 radians per second. So this is the corner frequency, and we have to estimate the lowest corner frequency and the highest corner frequency. That means we have to take the frequency before this and after this, right? So omega LCR, lowest corner frequency, right? Lowest corner frequency omega LCR will be given as 0.1, which should be less than this, 0.1 radians per second, and highest corner frequency omega HCR will be here, corner frequency is 1, we have to take a frequency which is greater than this. So what can we take is 10 radians per second with respect to the plot, semi-log plot. Okay, with respect to semi-log plot, we have to consider these corner frequencies. So next thing is we have to estimate the magnitude plot. First thing is in Bode plot we know that we have two plots. One is the magnitude plot and phase plot. So first thing is for magnitude plot. Magnitude plot, based on this corner frequencies, we have to estimate. So let us construct a table here. Given transfer function is having two poles, one is at origin and one is at -1. So terms, what are the terms? Terms are nothing but the poles. right? 15 divided by j omega, this is 1. Other one is 1 by 1 plus j omega, those two poles. Then corner frequency. So for this we don't have any corner frequency because the pole at origin doesn't give any corner frequency, and the pole, for this pole, whatever the corner frequency we got is 1, right? Then slope in dB. So as we know that if you are having a pole that contributes minus 20 dB, pole contributes minus 20 dB as a magnitude, and 20 dB plus 20 dB if it is 0. We know this, right? So since we have one pole here, it will contribute to minus 20 dB, and this contributes, how much this contributes? This is also another pole. It will also contribute minus 20 dB. Now change in slope in dB. Change in slope is given as initially what we get is minus 20 dB. So minus 20 dB we know, and the next thing is when you are computing for the second pole, whatever the existing frequency should be added to this. Existing should be added to this. So minus 20 you will get minus 40 dB. So that's it. We have only two poles and these are the change in slopes you get. So from the corner frequencies, now we need to estimate the magnitude. How can we estimate the magnitude? So gain for the corner frequencies. Gain for corner frequency. A is equal to G of j omega in dB at omega equal to omega LCR, that is a lower corner frequency. Okay, lower corner frequency where we selected is at 0.1, right? So at 0.1 the magnitude A will be given as 20 log. What is the gain we consider? I mean pole we consider is 15 by j omega. 15 by j omega. Right? So for 15 by j omega, what we need to do is we need to substitute the 0.1 in this omega. Therefore 20 log 15 by 0.1. If you compute this 20 log 15 by 0.1, you would get 44 dB. So this is at 0.1. So at omega is equal to omega CR. Now corner frequency is at 1. That implies magnitude A is given as 20 log of 15 by j omega. That is nothing but omega will be 1. 20 log 15 by 1. This gives 24 dB as the magnitude. Next thing is higher corner frequency. At higher corner frequency where we selected omega is equal to 10 dB. At omega is equal to omega HCR. That is at 10. So here how to calculate this one is A is equal to slope from this point to omega HCR. This will be given as slope from omega CR to omega HCR, higher corner frequency, into log of omega HCR by omega CR plus whatever the gain we got it for omega equal to omega CR. Gain at omega equal to omega CR. This is nothing but slope from omega CR to omega HCR. That means from omega 0.1 1 to when you are having a 1 to 10 higher corner frequency, the change in slope you got is minus 40 actually, right? So this is change from omega CR to omega HCR will give us slope as minus 40, and this one will calculate and log of omega HCR. Omega HCR is nothing but 10 by 1, and gain at omega equal to omega CR is 24 dB. That implies minus 40 into log of 10 by 1 plus 24 dB. Compute this, you will get 16 dB, right? So that is how we get all the corner frequencies. Now we need to plot a phase plot. Next thing is phase plot. Phase plot. So from the given transfer function, we have a one pole at origin, one pole at minus 1. So phase expression is given as g of s is equal to 15 by j omega into 1 plus j omega. So phase will be given as, this will contribute minus 90, pole at origin will contribute minus 90, and the pole at minus 1 will give us omega by 1, that is omega. So let us substitute different omega values starting from 0.1 to 10, lower corner frequency to higher corner frequency. So omega radians per second and the phase, okay, for 0.1, 0.1.5, 1, 2, 5 and 10. Okay, you can select any range of omega values starting from 0.1 to 10. So when you substitute omega is equal to 0.1 here, we would get minus 96 as an angle. Then when you substitute 0.5, we will get minus 117. Then for 1 we will get minus 135. For 2 we will get minus 153. For 5 we will get minus 169. And for 10 we will get minus 174. Right? So let us plot phase and magnitude for in Bode plot and represent the phase margin and gain margin, so that we can understand where our actual system is having the phase crossover frequency. Okay, let us add. So let us consider Semilog graph here. Will represent lower corner frequency as 0.1 to 10. Right? This is 0.1, this is 1, 10, 100 and so on. Right? Then magnitude plot, we will separate this whole thing into magnitude and phase plot, and we will take each scale of 10 radians per second, 10 dB. This is 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 0, minus 10, minus 20. So this is for magnitude, and for the phase what we can do is from minus 90 we will take minus 90, minus 100. Okay, I'll just draw a line here just to separate phase and gain, phase, magnitude and the phase. Okay, 100 minus 110 minus 120, minus 130, minus 140, minus 150, minus 160, minus 170, minus 180. So in the magnitude, if you observe for the different corner frequencies, what we got is at omega equal to zero point 0.1 we got 44 dB, at omega equal to 1 we got 24 dB, and for omega equal to 10 we got 16 minus 16 dB. Minus 16 dB. See, these two are positive, 44 and 24. When you are increasing to 10 we got negative dB, right? When omega equal to 0.1, what we got is 44. So this would be 44. Okay. When omega equal to 1, we got 24, 26 actually. Right? 26, omega equal to 1 is 26. This one. When omega is equal to 10, what we got is minus 16. Minus 16 will be somewhere here. This is what the phase plot. Just join all the points. This is for minus 20 dB, and the second one what we got is minus 40 dB. Okay, this is minus 40 dB. When you locate phase margin, all the points of phase margin, what we can get is let's just observe what are the points we got. Just observe and plot it. See here, minus 96 for 0.1, 0.5, minus 117, and 1, 135, 2, minus 153, 5, minus 169, 10, minus 174. Right? So, we got is for 0.1, 1, 10, 100. So, at 0.1, what we got is 96 minus 96. This will be somewhere here. For 0.5, what we got is minus 117 for 1 to 0.5. This will be 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. 0.5, 117 we got. So this one will be 117 somewhere here. Okay. Then for 1 we got minus 135. For 1 minus 135 will be somewhere here. For 2 we got minus 153. For 2 we got minus 153. Minus 153. This will be 2 and this is 153. For 5 we got minus 169. 169 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 169. For 10 we got minus 174. 10 minus 174. This one. Just join all the points. Okay. So more or less this will be the plot, and what we need to do is we have to find omega GC, gain crossover frequency, right? So omega GC, if you draw omega GC is nothing but in the gain plot, where the magnitude plot is crossing 0 dB. This is nothing but, this point is nothing but omega GC. Omega GC. If you draw a perpendicular from here, where it will meet the phase plot, this particular point will give us this particular point will give us phase crossover frequency, phase crossover, phase margin actually, PM, phase margin. 5 p.m. Okay, this is nothing but 5 p.m. If you compute, you will get it as a minus 167. Okay, so usually to determine the phase margin, we can determine phase margin. 5 pm is given as 180 plus phase crossover frequency. Phase at the phase crossover frequency. Okay, this is nothing but phase at phase crossover frequency. Phase at phase crossover gain crossover frequency. Sorry, this is gain crossover frequency. Gain plot is actually crossing this, so gain crossover frequency. Not frequency, actually angle. Sorry, it's a mistake. Please note it down. It's a phase at gain crossover. Phase at gain crossover. This is nothing but the phase at gain crossover. Okay, this will be 180 plus minus 167. How much it will be? It will be 13 degrees. So to compute this, this will be taken as a step 3. Okay, now from this what we got is it is 13 actually. But in the given specifications, as they mentioned, it should be phase margin 5 pm should be greater than or equal to 45. This is what they expected, but what we got is 13 degrees for the given transfer function. Right? For the given transfer function, what we got is that. So what we should do is we have to add this phase for the compensator system such that the extra phase, what is the extra phase we may get from here is how much extra phase we need to add such that our system meets the required specifications. Find phi m. This is actually required phase to be added for the compensator system. Required phase for compensated system. This is given as 5 pm expected minus actual system phase margin plus epsilon. Epsilon is actually the the threshold limit. I mean threshold in the sense the offset kind of gain. We can if you are getting more or less 45 or 46, if it is just less than 45, you can use this particular epsilon to adjust that. So here is nothing but phase required phase to be added. This is equal to 45 minus 13. Let us consider epsilon as 5. Okay, if you consider this epsilon as 5, we'll get expected phase to be added 5m as 37 degrees. So compensated system should have this much phase, extra phase. Okay, now let us consider a transfer function. So transfer function, we know that we need to add the transfer function to the feedback system. So this is the question mark we need to add to the 15 by s into s plus 1. Right? So how can we do that? We have to determine the transfer function. Next step, step 5. This is step 4 actually. Step 4 and now step 5. Step 5 is determine the transfer function. The TF with the transfer function of lead compensator. Lead compensator is alpha is equal to 1 minus sine phi m by 1 plus sine of phi m. So compute alpha, substitute phi m will be 37, therefore alpha will be 0.25, right? So decibel magnitude, if you are calculating for this, if you calculate decibel magnitude use at alpha is equal to 0.25 will be minus 20 log 1 by root alpha. This is nothing but minus 6 dB. Okay, from Bode plot find the frequency at minus 6 dB of the magnitude plot. Let us go to Bode plot. So in this Bode plot we need to find the frequency at minus 6 dB. Frequency at minus 6 dB. Minus 6 dB, where we will get minus 6 dB? We will get minus 6 dB somewhere here. Minus 10 and minus 8, minus 6. This is what we get. Minus 6 dB. Okay, so minus 6 dB. We need to find the magnitude plot at minus 6 dB. What is the frequency at which this we got? So if you see the frequency, let us see the frequency. See, I am just writing with the free hands, more or less. If you draw a straight line with the scale, you may get the frequency as a 5.6 actually. Sorry. So if you draw a frequency at this point, we will get the frequency as 5.6 radians per second. So 5.6 radians per second is actually less than the 7.5 frequency, right? In the question what they asked is gain crossover frequency of the system must be less than 7.5. So if you consider this as a gain crossover frequency, this is actually less than 7.5. 5.6 is less than 7.5, which satisfied the condition, right? So for this condition we need to find the transfer function at that particular point. So transfer function will be given as so to compute that transfer function we have to consider that particular frequency. So at this frequency, when we computed omega m, okay, omega m at alpha, what we got is 5.6, right? 5.6 per radians per second. Okay, so t is given as omega m root of alpha. So we will be substituting that t in the given transfer function. We'll see how to do that. 5.6 root 0.25, this will be 0.36. Therefore transfer function for the lead compensator is given as transfer function for lead compensator is given as a GC of S is equal to alpha into S plus 1 by T to S plus 1 by alpha T. Okay, substitute the alpha T here. So this is nothing but the transfer function, generalized transfer function for the lead compensator, and just substitute the alpha in the given transfer function. We'll get 0.25 into 1 plus 0.36 S divided by 1 plus 0.0009 S. So this is nothing but the lead compensator for the system. Okay, GC of S. So now what we need to do is we have to substitute this GC of S. Okay, we have to substitute this in a we have to add this cascade this controller with the transfer function plant GC of S into plant. And what they asked is, this is the compensated system. When the compensator added to the plant, whatever the required specifications they gave, it should meet. Now what we need to do is we need to add this, substitute this, and get the overall transfer function, right? So overall transfer function, sorry. So here actually gain is having 0.25 to cancel out this 0.25. What we can do is 1 by 0.25. Just we'll keep pole and 0 alone. Okay, whatever the gain terms are there, we'll just cancel out. 0.25 to 1 plus 0.36 s divided by 1 plus 0.09 s. Okay, into plant. What is plant? 15 by s into s plus 1. Okay, this is the overall transfer function with the compensator. Okay, so G open loop, if I am writing this whole this whole transfer function as a open loop transfer function, this as a open loop transfer function, let's cascade that. Open loop cascade compensator is given as 15 into 1 plus 0.36 s divided by s into s plus 0.09 s into s plus 1. So this is nothing but the open loop transfer function, and whatever the phase margin is given, desired phase margin is computed from by using this particular transfer function. So now again we need to plot the Bode plot and verify the performance specifications. So next step is to verify the performance using GOC. Okay, same thing. So once we get this closed loop transfer function, we have to consider that transfer function and perform Bode plot for that again to check whether the required specifications given are meeting or not. So now from here it is a verification process. We have to repeat the same process for the given transfer function, I mean obtained transfer function, right? So let us consider a Bode plot for the transfer function A, that is substitute s equal to j omega in A, and once you substitute j omega, the transfer function will be converted in terms of 15 into 1 plus 0.36 j omega divided by j omega into 1 plus 0.09 j omega into 1 plus j omega. That is actually having three poles, the pole at origin, pole at 1 by 0.09 and pole at minus 1, right? So by using these three transfer function, I mean these three poles and 1 0, we have to locate corner frequencies. As I mentioned earlier, corner frequencies, we can locate the corner frequency by selecting only poles other than the pole at origin. Poles are zeros other than the roots, other than roots at origin. So if you observe the root here, j omega is at origin. So we have to eliminate this, and leftover roots we have to consider for corner frequencies, right? So if you see here corner frequency for 1 plus j omega, you will get 1 by 1. The coefficient of s we have to consider, so 1 by 1 will be 1. So for the corner frequency of 0, we'll get 1 by 0.36, that is nothing but 2.8 radians. And for the corner frequency of 1 by 0.09, the root, for that what we get, 1 by 0.09 actually, right? That is actually gives us a frequency at 11.1. So by using these corner frequencies, we have to find out the magnitude. How can we find out the magnitude for these three corner frequencies? For these three corner frequencies, we have to select lower corner frequency and higher corner frequency, which should satisfy all the three, which should be in between all the three, right? So higher corner frequency and lower corner frequency should be selected by considering all the three corner frequencies also. So first corner frequency is at 1, second will be at 2.8, and third corner frequency is at 11.1. So before 1, what we can select is point 0.1 as a lower corner frequency, and after 11.1 what we can consider is 50 as a maximum corner frequency or highest corner frequency. You can select any value. Only thing is it should cover all the three. So now to write the magnitude in terms of a dB, we have to consider all the poles and zeros. So we have 3 poles and 1 zero. The pole which is starting from the 0, the origin, we have to select it as a first pole, and further the corner frequency won't be there, right? Because it is actually pole at origin. Pole at origin, we won't get any corner frequencies. And since it is a pole, it will contribute minus 20 dB, and the aggregate will be minus 20 dB. The change or the initial part itself is minus 20 dB, so we have to take minus 20 dB alone. And for the second corner frequency, which is at second pole, that is 1 by 1 plus j omega. For this the corner frequency is 1, right? Corner frequency is 1, and which will contribute minus 20 dB because it is actually a pole. Therefore the aggregate will be, or overall change will be 20 plus 20, 20 minus 20 plus minus 20, that will give as a minus 40 dB. And the next corner frequency is at 0.36, so that gives the contribution of corner frequency as 2.8. Since it is 0, you can see that is actually 0, will give the slope of plus 20 dB. Okay, as it is 0, it will contribute a slope of plus 20 dB, and therefore minus 40 plus 20 will be minus 20 dB. And the next root will be 1 by 1 plus 0.9 omega, which will give the corner frequency of 11.1, and the slope will be minus 20, and therefore the change will be minus 40 overall, right? So as I mentioned earlier, we have to select the lower corner frequency and higher corner frequency in between all the other corner frequencies. Considering all the corner frequencies, we have to select one upper bound and one lower bound. Therefore 0.1 will be the lower corner frequency, and higher corner frequency will be 50 radians per second. Now for the magnitude plot, first thing is we have to consider a magnitude of j omega in terms of dB by considering a corner frequency from lower to higher. Okay, when omega equal to omega LCR, that is lower corner frequency, which is a 0.1, the magnitude will be 20 log 15 by j omega, because that is the corner frequency before the term the root 15 by j omega. That's why the initial term we have to consider as 15 by j omega itself. So if you compute, you will get 44 dB. Then second thing is when you are going with the corner frequency of 1, okay, in this direction we have to go. This is the direction we have to go. And omega will be omega C1, that is 1 radians per second. So substitute 1 radians per second in the omega, which gives 24 dB, right? So once you get corner frequency till this point, the second one, when wherever you get the pole other than origin, or zero or pole other than the location of origin, we have to select the second corner frequency, that is starting from corner frequency 1 to corner frequency 2.8. So slope should be selected from corner frequency CR1 to 2 into log of 2 by 1. So what is the slope of omega CR1 to omega CR2? See, from here omega 1 to omega 2.8, it is actually giving minus 40. Slope change is minus 40, right? Therefore just substitute a slope of minus 40 here, right? This will be minus 40, and log of omega CR2, that is this slope, this is actually 2.8 and this is 1, right? 2.8, and you have to substitute log of 2.8 by 1. Okay, then we have to consider the gain at omega CR1, that is nothing but the first corner frequency, that is 24 dB. Okay, if we compute this, we'll get 6 dB. So the next point is consider corner frequency at omega CR3, that is A is equal to slope of omega CR2 to 3. 2 to 3 means, see here, from omega CR2 to omega CR3, that is 2.8 to 11.1, from here to here, 2.8 to 11.1, that is contributing minus 20 dB. Therefore, this one is at the slope from omega CR2 to omega CR3 is contributing minus 20 dB, and compute omega CR3 as 11.1, right? 11.1, and omega CR2 is 2.8. Then gain at omega CR2 is 6 dB. If we compute, we'll get minus 6 dB. Similarly, the higher corner frequency also. So for a higher corner frequency, we'll get minus 32 dB. Then we need to take the phase plot. So we have 3 poles and 1 0. For the pole at origin, we'll get minus 90, and the 0 is actually when you are calculating phase, if you have a 0, you have to add. If you have a pole, you have to subtract. So for a 0, you have to take 0.36 omega, and for pole, other poles, you have to take minus, right? So this is how we get the phase plot different for the different phase points. So from this, what we can understand is we got magnitude and phase for the compensated system. Okay, these magnitude and phase uh, are obtained from the compensated system. Okay, so let us locate all the points in the Bode plot. Okay, so we'll take the same Bode plot here. So this is how the old Bode plot looks actually, right? This is what the old Bode plot, and now what we'll do, we'll add the compensated Bode plot to this itself. Okay, for that I'll just wrap all these things, and only plot alone I'll keep. Okay, this is old one, and yeah. Okay, fine. So for the magnitude plot, from omega equal to 0.1 to 0.1 to 1, what we got is When it is at point 1, the magnitude is 44 dB. It's the same magnitude, right? Omega LCR, when you are considering omega LCR, the magnitude is same actually, this itself. Then omega is equal to omega CR1, corner frequency 1. For the corner frequency 1, what we got is 24 dB. So this is also same actually. So the plot will be a parallel plot like this. Okay. Then for the next point at omega equal to point 2.8 radians, the slope what we got is 6 dB. Okay. Now let us locate the 6 dB at 2.8. Omega equal to 2.8. So this will be 2, 2 and 1, 2. 2.8 will be somewhere here, and where it is actually giving 6 dB. 6 dB will come here actually, right? 1, 2, yeah, 0 to 10, and 6 will be somewhere here. Okay, just I'll grab this one. Then this next point is at omega equal to 11.1. So 11.1 will be somewhere this one, this plot, this box actually, right? At 11.1 minus 6. So minus 6 will be somewhere point 1, 2, 3, this one somewhere here. Okay, 11.1. Then omega equal to 50. At omega equal to 50, we calculated and we got 32 dB, minus 32 dB, and it will actually cross the limit. This is minus 20, minus 30, minus 40, okay, 30. It will come around here actually. Thirty-two. It will be 32, means it will come here at 50, 50 radians. Okay, at 50 radians, it is actually 50 dB. 50 dB, it is actually giving 30 at 50 radians per second. We are getting minus 32 dB. 50 is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Minus 32 will be here. Okay, now let us join all the points. Okay, this will give this is giving minus 40, minus 40 dB, and this is actually contributing minus 20, 20 dB, and this is actually contributing minus 40 dB. Okay, so this is how the gain plot actually varies. Let us come to phase plot now. Let us check. Let us sketch the phase plot. In phase plot at point 1, what we got is minus 94. It's all same actually here only. Okay, at point 5, it is minus 109. Point 5 will be point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5. Point 5 will get 109. So 109 will be this point. Then at 1 we'll get 120. 120 at 1. Then at 2 we get 128. At 2 we'll get 128. At 5 we'll get 135, 132. At 5, this is 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 we get 132. 132. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Then at 50 we get minus 142. At 50 minus 142. This point. No, this is actually 10. This is 10, and sorry, this is actually giving 10. We have to locate 50. 50 will be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 50 is giving 142. 142 will come here. Now let us join all the points. So yeah, rewrite it. So this is how the new compensated plot looks. Compensated Bode plot. and you see the blue one is actually a uncompensated Bode plot. Blue one will uncompensated Bode plot. Okay. So now let us check the phase margin and gain margin in the plot. So if you observe from the phase margin of compensated system, right, from the phase margin of compensated system, what we get, if you draw a gain crossover frequency, so it is actually at 0 dB, draw a parallel line. At 0 dB, if you draw a parallel line, this one, if you draw a parallel line where it is intersecting the phase plot, it is actually intersecting the phase plot somewhere here. This is actually at 134 degrees. So this is angle at gain crossover angle. So to compute the phase margin, what we need to do, uh, phase margin PM, you will get it as 180 plus 5GC. 5GC is nothing but the angle which is contributed at gain crossover. Gain crossover is this point. Okay, it is actually minus 134. Minus 134. Therefore, 180 minus 134 will get it as 46 degrees. Okay, so what is the condition they asked for us? They asked to design a controller or compensator which will give the phase margin less than 45 degrees, right? They asked desired specification. In desired specification, what they asked is we have to draw a Bode plot, we have to design a lead compensator such that desired specification PM will be less than 45 degrees. So now what we got is 46 degrees. Sorry, actually which is asked is it should be greater than, not less than, it should be greater than. Now the compensated system actually satisfied the required specification. So if required specification, if you would have got something less than 46, I mean less than 45, what we need to do is we have to repeat from the step 4 actually. Right? What is the step 4? Step 4 is this one. We have epsilon here. Epsilon value we have taken it as a 5. Then if it is not satisfied, you can take epsilon value greater than 5. Then definitely it will satisfy the desired specifications. So this is how we get a lead compensator using Bode plot. Right? This blue one is the initial open loop system, and when you are introducing a compensator, lead compensator, whatever the plot you got, it is a red plot which is satisfying the desired specifications. So I'll just go through once again. Initially you will be given a open loop transfer function, and they will give us some specifications to us, and those specifications should be satisfied while designing whatever the compensator they asked. We have to consider that particular structure of the compensator and design that and include that compensator in the closed loop system. So this is what the system they gave, open loop system. Since the open loop system they gave, when one more point you have to remember is if they give k value unknown k, they will definitely give steady state error. Okay, from steady state error only we will be finding the k value, unknown k. Okay, otherwise directly they will give you an open loop transfer function, and this step can be skipped. Okay, then once you compute the k using a steady state error, then we have to construct a Bode plot, and in that Bode plot, whatever the Bode plot is there, let us check the Bode plot, and that Bode plot, if it is not satisfying the desired specifications, so from that Bode plot itself, what we need to do is we have to design some criterias like alpha, the angle it is actually making, the difference of the angle, required angle and obtained angle. See, this is actually phase margin which is actually required for us. It should not be less than 45. and what is obtained by open loop response is 13 degrees, then this is actually epsilon is nothing but some scaling factor. We can use that scaling factor just to avoid that offset. If you are getting nearer to the desired specification and which is not exactly following, and we can use this epsilon to get the exact desired specification. And this is what the difference we get, 37 degrees, and substitute that set 37 degrees in the alpha value and get the alpha value, and substitute that particular alpha to get the decibel in decibel magnitude. Therefore the unknown T, which is the function of lead compensator. So if you see the lead compensator structure, it is alpha into S plus 1 by T divided by S plus 1 by alpha T. We'll be getting alpha from angle, required angle. Okay, 1 minus sine required angle is phi m actually. Okay, phi m we'll get it from the difference of open loop phase margin and obtained open loop phase margin. Then once we get the alpha value, just substitute that alpha and T. T is again a function of the frequency at alpha, right? The frequency at alpha. Then once we substitute that, we get the lead compensator. We have to substitute this lead compensator as a function of a closed loop system. And that closed loop system, if you consider only the controller and plant, that will be open loop system itself. And this is nothing but the compensated system. When you are including a lead compensator in cascade to the given plant, then that system is compensated system. Okay, that compensated system we have to draw a Bode plot, then check that Bode plot is meeting the required specifications or not. Okay, so that is how we can estimate the controller or lead compensator. That's it for the today's class, and we'll see how can we do a lag compensator and lag lead compensator. If lag compensator is as same as this, but in lag compensator the location of pole will be nearer to the origin than 0. Okay, we'll see how actually the lag compensator and lag lead compensator will work in the next class.